go. Hey, Keith, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm very good. I'm with Keith Bushfield from Rexis Biotech. So we're going to have a little conversation here and a little introduction onto what Rexis is up to.
Okay.
All right, Keith. So why don't you give me the elevator pitch about Rexis?
Sure. Rexis is a biotech firm. We've been going for under a different iteration, but we did a lot of research and development before we started Rexis. Rexis has been running for about a year now. Before that, we probably did about 7 or 8 years of research and development through several different entities to get where we are today. Rexis' primary, what we do is we are able to turn hydrophobic molecules into water-soluble molecules. So hydrophobic molecule is a molecule that is oil-based, doesn't get and absorb in water very well. So the easiest way to think about that is salad dressing and oil. Your oil-based salad dressing. It floats on the top. It doesn't mix. We've all seen what happens when you mix oil and water. It doesn't work. So the problem with that is that hydrophobic molecule also does not absorb in the skin. So oil doesn't absorb like water. So whenever you have an oil-based particulate, it doesn't absorb. So if we can turn that into a water-based molecule or water-based ingredient, you'll have a much better chance of getting that absorption. So this is where we started to play. So THC, CBD, nicotine, valerian, the list goes on and on about hydrophobic molecules that don't absorb well. So the easiest one to start with is THC. So THC has been known for years to be very unfriendly for absorption, hard to work with because it is a truly water incompatible molecule. So it's a hydrophobic molecule. We want to turn it into a hydrolyphic molecule. So hydrolyphic molecule is very water soluble, absorbs in water, will continue to play nice with water, etc. So we developed a technology that we've been perfecting for the past 5-6 years, recently brought it to market, and it basically can take that hydrophobic molecule, turn it into a water-soluble powder. One of the biggest problems with the hydrophobic molecule in its state is that it can become very unfriendly. So it'll absorb poorly, but it'll also degrade quickly. So THC in its natural state will lose potency very quickly. So if you put that into medicinal application, you're losing potency very quickly. This will allow you to turn it into powder, and that powder can then be stored years instead of weeks or days. Prime example is if you put THC in an emulsion base, which I can speak to, but in an emulsion into a drink or into a water, it starts degrading almost immediately. Where we've shown stability tests 2 years out where we've lost a matter of percentage points over what it originally started at. So what we do basically, back to your question, is we just turn the hydrophobic molecules into hydrolyphic molecules that absorb in water, and then they can be used in applications from beverages to foods to medicinal applications, medicines, everything in between. So that's maybe the really long elevator pitch of what we do.
Yeah. Very interesting tech you've developed, and it's ready to go. You're starting to implement this into other products, and it seems like you're rolling out a whole different range of products and services. Is that right?
Sure. Yeah, so we kind of play in 3 spaces at the moment. So we play in our consumer packaged goods, so CPG space, consumer ready to drink beverages, other food items, things like that. We have a pharmaceutical division, and our pharmaceutical division is where we are developing more long-term. They're definitely not low-hanging fruit. It will be a long time before we get FDA approval or we license it to somebody, something like that. But we do have a nicotine product that we're developing for that. We have an epilepsy drug that we're working on with that as well. Again, a little further down the pipeline, but in initial trials, I'll give you a perfect example. We did a head-to-head trial against Epidiolex, which is it's the only FDA-approved CBD application. We went head-to-head with it. It was about 9 or 10% bioavailable, meaning only 9 to 10% of the molecule absorbed in the body through their FDA trials results. we did the same trial results with our molecule, or trial with our molecule. We showed a 48.15% bioavailable. So that's 500% more effective than the number one and only medication.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a great stepping stone to show that where we could go with this and how it would work. We took that application. It would work for beverages and everything else in between. So you have your consumer packaged goods that we're doing. So we have several of our own brands that we're bringing forward: Squared, Twist. We work with 3Chi, and then we have our license division, which is where we work with them. So we license our technology to THC companies, drug companies, pharmaceutical companies, etc., and they use it in their products. So we make our own, we make ingredients ourselves, we manufacture it, but we also license it. So we have THC companies across the country that we have licensed the technology to. Because of the laws in the United States, each state has their independent laws for THC, true THC, not hemp-based. So those THC laws require you to make it in that state. Can't be taken across state lines, etc. So we have licenses in California, Washington, Oregon, Michigan, Massachusetts, Maine, etc. So those independent states have what we call that legal THC marketplace, some recreational, some medicinal, and then our pharmaceutical line, and then our consumer packaged good line. So we just looked at what was the lowest hanging fruit for the company to get a return on its investment, a return for shareholders, etc. And that was obviously the consumer packaged good in the hemp space. So hemp has started to explode in terms of legal acceptance in this country. Yeah. So you have under the 3% threshold that we can use for THC. So we used hemp-based products that are organically grown, and we can put it into beverages. And as you said, we're about to launch in 12 states across the country with more than 2 to 3 million beverage cans that are going to hit the market very soon.
Mm-hmm. So your consumer products right now are hemp focused?
Yes, all our consumer products are hemp focused, with the exception of we do have a couple that we have a new molecule that mimics nicotine. So you get a bunch of the nicotine advantages, but none of the disadvantages. So you don't get the addiction properties. You don't get some of the carcinogens because of smoking. So it again comes in a powder. We've done some clinical trials where we take that product and give it to smokers, and smokers don't have the need to smoke anymore. It doesn't last forever, but it cuts it off maybe 6, 7, 8 hours. And then, but this product is safe for them. And it's not they're not smoking, they're not vaping. They can get from that. So most of them are in that hemp space, but there is energy, this nicotine alternative that we are working on to develop. So we're trying to throw the net a little wide while still being our core, so that we can basically hit as many targets as we can in different industries while still being focused on what our primary objective is using this molecule and this technology.
And so there's a lot of possibilities. I mean, you're beyond hemp, into nicotine, into functional mushrooms, into industries that cross over with psychedelics or with functional medicinal products.
That's a great segue too. We have an entire line of products that is in the psychedelic space. Psychedelics are becoming such a big part of our culture these days. So we have a synthetic psychedelic product that we're using. So it's a synthetic of what you might find in psilocin or psilocybin, but it is developed differently. So it's not an analog. It acts on its own. It will create some of those product lines, and then we sometimes fuse that to a hemp-based molecule, and you can get all kinds of different reactions from it, where it still lands in the co-crystal hemp category. So then we can sell it in a retail channel. So you're getting the best of both worlds without having to have a product that is not allowed or it's not legal. This is a product that is very is changing a lot of people's perception about that product in that line. It can be used in a recreational format, but it's also used a lot these days in therapy sessions and things like that.
Sorry, is that a proprietary? It's like psilocybin.
Molecule? So we call it psilocybin. So it's called psilocybin. So our psilocybin is a proprietary molecule that we've developed. It's a co-crystal, so it's not an independent molecule. So in the United States, we sell it and call it a co-crystal. So it's basically a formation of multiple molecules together in a crystal format. And then that high spun format gives us basically molecule that acts a little different, but it's still considered in the hemp-based space. So we are allowed to play in that, and we're quite excited about that space. That space is
with psilocin type properties to it.
Correct. Yeah. So you get a lot of the same kind of feelings. We do have a product that's in early stages of being developed, and we hope to have it on the market in a few weeks. Sorry, it's not in the early stages, it's in the later stages. I hope to have it on the market soon. That product gives you that euphoric, that energy, while still giving you some of those slight psychedelic images and feelings that you can get, while giving you a non-paranoid type of thing. So what you're finding is you're getting a product that really has no equal. There's nothing out there like it. And we believe it could be the next really big thing. It'll then decide, what will this category fall into? What will this molecule fall into? So again, it's a little up in the air still, but that one could be big potential, along with the NX1, which is the nicotine molecule. And they have nothing to primarily do in the hemp space.
Right. No, there's a ton of potential there. Like we know all of these additives and functional ingredients are exploding, and to get them in a consumer-friendly product with better absorption and bioavailability, which lowers costs, which others all kinds of benefits if you're able to use less product to get to the same effect, right? So there's benefits all along the chain.
One of the biggest things that I probably haven't talked about today too is the flavor profiles. So if we're talking functional mushrooms right now, lion's mane or cordyceps or reishi, they don't taste very good. You must have to have a very good, you like that flavor profile, or else you just tough it out and you take it. And most people I know do not like the flavor profile. We have been able to take that lion's mane, that reishi, that cordyceps, again, a non-water soluble ingredient, turn it into a water soluble ingredient that we can put into a beverage, into food, all kinds of different things, and remove its taste. So we can, there's some products out there on the market that they put it in coffee to try and hide it. They put it in all kinds of different things. We can put it literally in water and make it taste like a vitamin C. So we are dealing with two different companies that are going to bring that to market in the next 6 months, and you're going to see those at places like Whole Foods, and we're pretty excited about that one as well. You get rid of that terrible, awful, off-putting mushroom taste and still get all the benefits in an organic state without the flavor.
If you're able to remove or adjust the taste, the flavor profile, that's that, while retaining all of the benefits of the ingredient.
We do that with almost every molecule we do. That's part of our magic of what we do. As an example, I can take THC, and that's why we've had the success we've had. Because THC has always been known to taste terrible. Mushrooms taste terrible. There's all of these molecules that they don't taste very well. We can take THC, put it through our process. It's a fine white powder, put it in water, dissolves. You can't see it, you can't taste it, and you can't smell it in water. So you can have a glass of water and you have no idea it's in there. And the reason that we're excited about that is because if it's water, I can make it taste like anything. I can make it taste whatever you want it to taste like. You can take that same stuff, put it in orange juice. You have no idea it's in there. So on the medicinal side of that, it helps. On the recreational side, on the consumer packaged goods, it's amazing. THC is one thing, but then when you do go to a functional mushroom and it tastes so bad, I don't need it. Like I said before, hide it in coffee. I can literally take this and put it in water. And the one beverage that is coming on the market, I can't say who's using it yet, but it's a sparkling water. It's going to be a sparkling beverage that tastes like mushroom. And it's got an entire gram of functional lion's mane. It'll change the industry too.
I mean, sign me up. You should see what I have to do to take my turkey tail mushrooms. I'm pinching my nose. It's a whole adventure. Yeah, it's a whole adventure to get it down. I mean, so there's tons of potential there for sure.
Yeah, we see that as when we did this company and we really started to explore what we could do, we always knew there'd be new things coming up that we didn't really think about before. And now we look at it and there's this whole plethora of molecules that we have started to work with. And we have over 50 molecules in our asset library. And I call those molecules one that we took and made a new co-crystal from. So whether it's lion's mane or cordyceps or, like you say, turkey tail, whatever you're happening to do, we've been able to adjust and change and make them work better. We have that thing, we make them taste better, we make them work better. That's the whole basis. And if we can spread our focus, not so much that we lose focus, but spread our bandwidth out, that we can have somebody that's in the functional mushroom space that has nothing to do with the hemp space. We can have something in the caffeine space. We do it for caffeine as well. We have a special caffeine that is 1/5. You need 1/5 as much. You can't taste it. You can't see it. It goes in water. So you no longer have those off-putting caffeine flavors that you can do, because caffeine's extremely bitter. So, but at the same time, you're not just getting rid of the taste, you're lowering the amount. So I can get 100 milligrams of caffeine. That would be an active dose for most people, but now I can cut it down to 20. So they only need to take 20 milligrams of that caffeine instead of 100. Mm-hmm. Much different application and much wider application. Use it in more foods, more beverages, caffeine, lion's mane to nicotine to whatever happens.
Yeah, well, I'm sold. And I believe, yeah, and there's a public a capital raise that's going on. Are you launching that?
Yes. Yeah. So normally, I've been doing this a long time. We'll raise it publicly, take it public, stock market, sell it, or move on to the next one. And I've always done them traditional. This would be the third or fourth one I've done. This one, though, we were approached by a group that said you should do a WeFunder campaign or a crowdfunding campaign, because you have so many of these consumer ready products that people want. It's not like we're selling an algorithm or something else. This is for something for people to see. So what we looked at it and said, okay, it's not necessarily just the money piece, but we're now introducing it to tens of thousands of people as a consumer products company that also owns the tech. So that's how we look at ourselves. We're a biotech firm, but we're also a consumer products good company. We own multiple manufacturing facilities around the country. We have a whole team that does development and design all the way down to our tech side. So we looked at it and said we could raise money, grow before we take the next step, whether it's keeping private for the next round or whether it's a go public strategy at some point, whether it's an acquisition by somebody. But we know now we have so much going for us and so many great things coming. We just decided that this was a great way to introduce it to the rest of the world as well, not just our partners. And our partners tote us all the time. We have got some amazing partners that love what we do. And those partners, I think, sing the praises, but we also want to expand our own network of our own consumer good products, such as Squared, which is a canned hemp beverage that is going to be in a national distribution model that we've just finished. We have 12 distribution contracts around the country. So you're going to start seeing Squared, Twists, our own internal brands, which are low-calorie sodas and seltzers, along with ready to drink like a margarita and a Paloma from Twist. And they're going to go across the country into liquor stores, bars, restaurants, and they start to be delivered next week. So millions of cans are getting delivered. It's going to change the way people consume hemp-based products. So you're going to get a hemp 9 or a D9 product, which is psychoactive. It's like THC, but it falls under the Farm Bill. And then it will be in 12 states within the next 30 days.
Amazing. Yeah, that's great. And with the funding round, I believe that's going live this week.
Yeah, so just turned it on yesterday, day before, something like that. So
yeah.
Gained $250,000 really quickly, so it was a fast to there, and now we're going to start introducing it, and it's talking to people like yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's quite interesting. I mean, you're getting a funding round by also spreading the word and letting your investors be your consumers, I guess, and get the word out there with some skin in the game. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. So this is great. This is a lot of content here. This is there's definitely an interesting story to tell. It seems like you have a lot of pieces of the chain there in place. Very interesting. And I mean, if it does everything you says it does, I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff there. Yeah.
I've done some very large corporations in my life, been part of, and hands down, without question, this will be the biggest one. Like, I had some very big deals before this one. It has the structure of what the product is and the IP to be absolutely massive.